excellent speeches today, right from the heart, and I think it's very important that we remember it's always people that's important. It's not politicians, it's not policies, it's people and how they manifest themselves with people. And people like consistency. They want their politicians to call for a ceasefire, a permanent ceasefire. And the faux outrage where the Security Council decision of Russia and China, America calling foul on that. You need consistency, and we need a new world order. We need a world order that puts humanitarianism, that puts regard for international law and what many consider to be humanitarian norms at the forefront of decision making. We all know that it would simply take Joe Biden to say we're stopping the money for all these hundreds and hundreds of trucks full of vital aid which is required for these desperate folk to get through these barriers. We know that the gentleman orchestrating the resistance, indeed setting up the parties and children's playgrounds to stop the lorries going in, himself as a fugitive from justice in America. He fled to Israel and changed his name, and he's the prime suspect for a murder in the United States. So there's an irony there that isn't lost on anyone. Derek touched on the fact of how this pans out. We need to think beyond this. I don't doubt that these hostilities will stop. I don't doubt also that the persecution of the Palestinian people that's happened for so long will continue. But we need to realise that our government, and I use that word very regretfully, the United Kingdom government must have regard for international law. You can't dip in and out of saying when the International Court of Justice its decisions are appropriate or not. And the silence, the deafening silence of the people in the payroll of the Zionists and the blood money that's flowing. We know that the Speaker of the House of Commons have sent a friend of Israel. I want to be a friend of everyone, but I want to be a friend of people who respect humanity, that respect other people, who expect the right for difference of views. And I think the gentleman spoke about Julian Assange there. That just sums up. You'll be aware that the most dangerous thing that Julian Assange did was actually expose the truth. The truth is what's happening. Now, how is it that the truth is dangerous? It's lies that used to be dangerous. The truth is very important, and the truth of the situation is that we're a long way short of seeing a resolution for the gentleman's family in the north of Gaza. Money is very important, clearly, in decision making for our politicians. Access to the world's riches, draining the planet of its resources, which in any case can be burned without an overall destructive effect. We really are in a sorry state, and I know people want to be positive, and it's important to be positive. What I will be positive about is to say that notwithstanding the fatigue of everyone at what they're confronted with on a daily basis, the obscenities of children suffering to the extent they are. Now, if you and I can see that, Rishi Sunak can see that, and that clown Stammer can see that too, and he's watching it, and he's either has a heart of stone or he's completely indifferent, and the Zionist blood money means more to him than lives of small babies. It's shocking. I don't know if you saw the interview with him the other day, trying to justify the situation. They're all military experts now. No one is saying that taking hostages is an acceptable situation. But we know that language is important too. And one side seems to have hostages and the other side has prisoners. If people with very great power, and it's wee laddies with stones up against a nuclear power, funded by the largest and most powerful army and economy in the world, if people can't see the imbalance that's there, and I know that people in this audience are aware of what's going on in the West Bank, the atrocities that are continuing there on a daily basis, and we know what that's all about. There's nothing new in some respects with all of this. The abuse, the bemusement with which settlers divert their sewage into the water streams of Palestinians, the way that systematically systematically wells are blown up by the Israeli army if Palestinians bore for water. I suppose you could describe it as being positive in one respect, that the Israeli High Court did rule that it was inappropriate that 6 seriously ill cancer patients couldn't be deported to Gaza, if you saw that. What sort of world are we living in when anyone would consider that appropriate? The motivation for any decision about any ill person should be what's in their best medical interest, not what's in political interest. I think it's very, very important that we keep meeting, and I think it's very important that we keep sending the messages. I'm grateful to the Highland councillors for their efforts, and of course for Derek for his tireless work in this regard. You heard, and it's very important to remember, that rather than participate and have anything to say on this, the Conservative and Unionist councillors absented themselves from it. That is shameful. Now you're going to get the opportunity, and hell many any of them that knocked my door. I had one of them knock the door recently there. He got a few words in his ears. They're going to be wanting your votes. They want to be talking about things that they think are important to you. Dueling the 9 potholes. They don't want to be talking about Gaza. They don't want to be talking about the atrocities that are happening elsewhere. They don't want to be talking about the rule of law, the importance of adherence to the rule of law, the importance of appreciating that the most important thing we can do is bring an end to the suffering. It's the strangest thing. You've seen these cartoons. It's a woman, and I think it's significant. It's a woman because invariably it's women that are at the forefront of all the campaigns for justice. That it's a woman standing with a placard saying "End the killing now," and there's 2 men passing in suits shouting "extremist" at her. When since did it become extreme to want an end to violence? It's the fundamental thing that will mean humanity will progress. As I said here previously, 2 men fighting the other side of the road. You don't want to know what they're fighting about. You don't want to go and damage their houses. The first thing you say is stop fighting. It's absolutely fundamental. And we've lost so many things in the cloud of who's friend and who's enemy and whose side are you on. We really need a situation. Rishi Sunak's an embarrassment. Stammer's a absolute clown. They are all in receipt of blood money. There was a vote on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I don't know much about TikTok. I'm crassly indifferent to TikTok. But the 326 people who voted in the Senate or the Congress or whichever it was recently, every one of them was in receipt of money from Israel. It's hardly likely, and of course the motivation, as I understand, for that was that there are 10 times as many proponents of the Palestinian justice than there are those supporting Israel. Freedom of speech is important. It's important that people get the opportunity to articulate their arguments in support of their position. What we're seeing, and one of the speakers, it was Derek that touched on, and indeed the gentleman that spoke there, about Rishi Sunak's efforts to curtail free speech. When I was part of the Scottish Parliament cross-party group in Palestine, there was great concern among the Palestinian community about the International Holocaust Remembrance Society's definition of anti-Semitism. And I took it as my role, I was then the Justice spokesman for the Green Party, I took it my role to get in touch with both the Crown Office and Police Scotland. They have no regard to that definition. There are laws that are made down. Rishi Sunak can have as many policy statements on what they think is extreme. It's the law that matters, and the law is passed in Parliament. Parliaments are law-making forums, and that's where it happens, and that's where the debate would be happening about curtailment of freedom of speech. So that definition has no regard. Police Scotland have no regard to that in their decision to take action on the street. The Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Section have no regard to that at all. They have regard to the law. That's their obligation. But people backed by the Daily Mail, backed by the Daily Express, and all the nonsense, the lack of scrutiny, that's taking place is shameful. It's absolutely shameful. We do need boycott, divestment and sanctions. Our dear friends in South Africa, they benefited from that. That brought about a situation. They are at the forefront. And I'm delighted to see the South African flag flying here. They're doing the cause of Palestine proud. Sadly, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, a sham rogue state in my opinion, that's backing these terrorists, is not doing that. So let's all aspire to be like South Africa in our outlook in life, and I